An elite unit of Pskov paratroopers, together with military equipment, was preparing for a maneuver in Zaporizhzhia region. It was discovered by soldiers of the Ukrainian main intelligence directorate. They immediately launched a strike on the place of accumulation of the enemy forces. As a result, the Russian army lost several trawlers and infantry fighting vehicles along with their crews. The total combat losses of the Russian Federation since the beginning of the full-scale invasion are estimated at 710,000 people killed and wounded. This is the data from the General Staff of the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. According to the commander of the UK Armed Forces, the Russian people are paying an enormous price for the invasion of Ukraine.
Russia is about to suffer 700,000 people killed or wounded. The enormous pain and suffering that the Russian nation is having to bear because of Putin's ambition. Tony Radakin, commander of the British Armed Forces, in an interview with the BBC.
The latest data from British military intelligence shows that the average daily losses of the Russians killed and wounded in Ukraine reached a new high in October. At the same time, the average daily casualty rate was 1,353 people a day.
This is the second consecutive month that Russian troops have suffered record losses in the war. Last month, Russia lost about 41,980 people. John Healey, Secretary of State for Defense of the United Kingdom, in an interview with The Telegraph.
To make minimal gains on the front line while throwing hundreds of thousands of Russians into slaughter, the Kremlin is planning to spend 40% of its entire federal budget on the war against Ukraine, according to British intelligence reports.
Russia has paid a staggering price for Putin's imperial folly, with hundreds of thousands of Russian casualties since February 2022 and more than $200 billion squandered. According to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, Russian losses in just the first year of Putin's war were more than Moscow's losses in all of its conflicts since World War II combined. Lloyd Austin, United States Secretary of Defense, in a column for Foreign Affairs.
Since the beginning of the war, the Russian Defense Ministry has not disclosed data on military personnel killed in Ukraine, limiting the number of victims to 5,000 people. But only according to the data confirmed from open sources, at least 75,000 military personnel were killed. Both servicemen and their relatives regularly report heavy losses in the ranks of the Russian army on social networks.
Black, Malloy, Balu. They're all dead. Only 4 out of the 69 men are still alive.
Unit 09332 is suffering very heavy losses. Please help us in carrying out evacuation. Help us to bring our relatives home.
In October this year, the Russian occupiers suffered large-scale losses in equipment. They were the largest over the last 2 years of the full-scale invasion. 695 pieces of equipment destroyed, damaged or seized by the Ukrainian defenders. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Natalia Husak, Volodymyr Shtanghelov, UATV News.